Coming up tonight, President Paul Biya and outgoing Turkish Ambassador Sarak discuss ties between Yaoundé and Ankara with the Japoma Sports Complex as a recent example. The Batch of Peace and Unity of the Combined Services Military Academy has been called upon to walk the path of their elders as they defend Cameroon. And over 500 athletes with over 20 from 8 countries are ready for this year's Mount Cameroon Race of Hope that takes place tomorrow in Boya. The details right now. Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
President Paul Biya has granted audience to the outgoing Turkish ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Sarak. During the audience, the two personalities reviewed the state of cooperation between Cameroon and Turkey, a recent illustration being the construction of the Japoma Sports Complex. Chief Unity Palace correspondent Ashu Nyente has the rest of that story.
The fountains at the Unity Palace are singing a parting song as the Turkish ambassador is welcomed for the very last time. Sarak has ended her tour of duty in Cameroon. It is now time for her to leave. The Turkish diplomat is gratified with an ultimate high-profile welcome before she gets to meet the head of state for a final talk.
Madame Sarak, ambassadrice de la République de Turquie.
She has been in this country for 2 years. In 30 minutes, President Paul Biya and Madame Sarak take stock of cooperation interests between Cameroon and Turkey, which have expanded since she came in the following areas:
economy, trade, diplomacy, international cooperation, humanitarian issues, after pandemic, COVID, sustainable development, and also flagship projects like Japoma Stadium. We are proud of such projects.
The Japoma Stadium, the fruit of Turkey-Cameroon cooperation completed under her watch, is one of the ultra-modern infrastructure used during the last football championship. She is given a parting gift by the head of state as a testament of her efforts. Her Excellency Sarak's stay in Cameroon was relatively short, but she would not forget Cameroon so soon.
I feel like my second homeland. Diplomatic mission, also with very rich culture. I had a great privilege to work here for 2 years, so it was a great experience.
Madame Sarak leaves Cameroon to continue on other assignments for her native country.
The 38th batch of the Combined Services Military Academy, Crise, Peace and Unity, has been called upon to walk the paths of their elders who selflessly defended Cameroon's territorial integrity and unity. The message is that of the head of state, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. President Paul Biya exhorted the 287 cadet officers to cultivate the values of discipline, patriotism and moral rectitude. We have details with Constantine Baum.
In total, there are 287 cadet officers graduating from the Combined Services Military Academy, Christian, Peace and Unity, which signifies the backbone of Cameroon Defense Forces. The 38th batch includes some 50 female officers, and the officers are drawn from 6 countries: Cameroon, Congo-Brazzaville, Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Guinea-Conakry, and the Central African Republic.
They have done a special training about the cyber criminality. They are ready to serve and to defend our dear country.
The absence of the head of state and other state dignitaries is due to the prevailing health context, but the head of state's message magnified the role of the defense forces and the preservation of peace in Cameroon.
I urge you to work in the footsteps of your elders by cultivating the value of discipline, patriotism, and moral rectitude on a daily basis in all circumstances and in the face of the inevitable rigors of trial and military life. You must always serve the country with honor and loyalty.
The head of state, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, instructed the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense to exceptionally organize in a reduced military format this ceremonial parade to award epaulets to these young officers, reason why very few persons attended compared to previous epaulets award ceremonies.
Naming this year's batch of the Combined Services Military Academy as the Batch of Peace and Unity is an indication of the nation's trust in its army as guarantor of the set values. To achieve this, however, the population is expected to work in frank collaboration with its military, and this enthusiasm was manifested by parents, guardians, and the population that came out to witness the graduation ceremony today. We have details with Mokole Prince Wiladuma.
Breaking the rules on the day of celebration raises no eyebrows here. 287 graduates of the Combined Services Military Academy this year, the pride of both officers and family.
You can see from my face that I'm a happy father today. To have my son graduate from this school today is something to be happy about.
To them, parting company with loved ones for 36 months of training was a decision taken in the interest of the state.
I would like to give him a few gifts for this day, and the gift is our presence and time to save the nation.
The civilian-military mix taken out of this academy is replicated in the restive regions of the far north, northwest, and southwest.
We have seen what the military is doing. The military is not only there to kill people like people are saying. They are assisting schools, assisting hospitals, taking part in all walks of life. You should not consider the army as an enemy. The army is a friend to the population.
Grant it as it may, the cadet officers of the 38th batch march into the waiting arms of the population for the consolidation of peace and unity in the country.
The officers are today fit for any command post prepared by the general and specialized training obtained in a peculiar context marked not only by the armed conflicts in the country but also by the health crisis caused by the coronavirus. Anglophone reports on the major training components that prepared the 38th batch of Kmer graduates for the field.
There are leaders of military command units fit for all kinds of operations. In 3 years of intensive training, the first 12 months transformed them from civilians to military staff through all imaginable difficult obstacle crossings, including the death path, where only the tough and courageous breathes. The second year took them to the classroom for the theoretical part of military training, to prepare them for modern war policy, strategy and tactics. At this level, they also, as pupil officers, learned military administration since they are meant to command. Then the third year, as usual, in the Combined Services Military Academy, they went back to the field to match the theory with practice. This batch of Kmer cadet officers have received peculiar training adapted to the current context. They are going to start work in an environment hit by the health crisis, COVID-19. The 38th batch of Kmer cadet officers, baptized Peace and Unity, gets into the field at the time the country is grappling with the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. These cadet officers have been trained in all the 10 regions of the country.
28-year-old Emmanuel Mugnol Zom is the best graduating student of the Peace and Unity batch. He hails from Gufe in the Mbam and Inobo division of the Central Region. After 3 years at the Combined Services Military Academy, he leaves as a lieutenant decorated by the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Rene Claude Meka. He is Formosa profiles the best graduating students of Kmer this year.
triumphant steps into a career so dear, Emmanuel Munol Zom takes a gaze at the horizon full of cheer. Passion keeps him afloat. He tells me his grandfather, a retiree of the military, was a source of inspiration. His countrymen of Gouffé, Mbam and Inubu now take pride in his strength and achievement, worthy to receive epaulets from the hands of the general. Down on his knee as a student, rose to his feet as lieutenant, Emmanuel Munol, 28, first son of a family of 8, sends tears rolling down his father's cheeks. These are tears of joy. I got emotional seeing him decorated. The engineer, 1.83 meters high, leads his teammate in a parade with sounds of thudding feet, synchronized moves, hallmarks of the military, proof of discipline and commitment to serve his fatherland in peace and unity.
The bravery, the loyalty and professionalism of Cameroon's defense forces have been tried and tested on several occasions. On each occasion, the forces have lived up to expectations. Ebenezer Kanga reports on some of what constitutes the prowess of Cameroon's defense forces with President Paul Biya as Commander-in-Chief.
A litmus test of the strength, loyalty, and professionalism of Cameroon's defense forces was the Bakassi conflict in the southwest region. Until the International Court of Justice rendered its verdict giving sovereignty over Bakassi to Cameroon, our defense forces valiantly defended the peninsula. In the northern regions of the country, the phenomenon of highway robbery, as well as abductions of herdsmen for ransom, posed a serious threat to security in that part of the country. The defense forces wiped out highway robbery and have curbed abductions significantly. Yet another serious threat to Cameroon's security came from the Boko Haram insurgency in the far north region. Here too, the defense forces have succeeded to weaken the terrorist sect considerably. In the East region, our defense forces have kept at bay incursions of rebels from the Central African Republic, while a secessionist attempt in the northwest and southwest regions has virtually been quashed. Thanks to the bravery, loyalty, efficacy, and professionalism of our defense forces, Cameroon continues to enjoy some degree of security with its territorial integrity kept intact. If the defense forces of Cameroon are able to achieve such successes, credit inevitably goes to its Commander-in-Chief, President Paul Biya, who gives orientations and provides the means for them to do their job.
On to other news, now the government of Cameroon is considering a strict follow-up of its budget execution and finance management to help regional councils to develop the country from the base. The strategies were discussed yesterday during the cabinet meeting for the month of February, presided over by Prime Minister Joseph John Gute. Ways of empowering the forestry subsector and preempting the re-escalation of COVID-19 were discussed. Christian Chiatam.
Between 2010 and 2015, government handed down 63 competencies to councils in a bid to instigate local development in the country. Many resources allocated to councils were not used, partly because of lack of qualified human resources and other shortcomings. During Thursday's cabinet meeting, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development explained strategies being put in place to help councils act as true catalysts of local development.
Concerning the human resources that have to be put at the disposal of the local authorities, mainly a local public function, and we have to ameliorate the accountability.
The cabinet meeting also examined the forestry subsector at a time when CEMAC is advocating for an end to the exportation of untreated timber from the sub-region.
We had to suggest some reforms concerning the funding of our activities. The head of government agreed and asked us to put in place a working committee on this issue.
Finally, with COVID-19, Resurfacing in Cameroon, the watchword from Thursday's cabinet meeting was the respect of protection measures.
The Prime Minister have told us to be part of raising a message to our population and to screen our collaborators regularly because we have to control the situation.
Prime Minister Joseph John Gutte has invited members of cabinet to put their shoulders to the wheel in order to ensure the success of government action.
Hard times await recalcitrant motorists on Cameroon's highways with the acquisition by the Ministry of Transport of ultra-modern radar equipment to be used across the country as a deterrent to overspeeding and road accidents. The radars will be used to sensitize motorists, after which there shall be sanctions. Gilbert Ongene reports.
Recent figures made public by the Ministry of Transport reveal that 2 out of every 3 accidents in Cameroon is caused by excessive speed, a disturbing situation that has pushed the ministry to take the bull by the horns in an effort to reduce the number of road accidents in the country.
If nothing is done between now and the next 5 years, there is a 35% risk of increase in number of deaths on a highway caused by excessive speed. The Ministry of Transport have decided to acquire a new modern equipment, radars of the last generation.
The intention, transport officials insist, is not to mete out sanctions to defaulters, but most especially to raise awareness on the need to be responsible while on the highway.
This is the new approach the Ministry of Transport is trying to use to address the question of road users. First of all, to influence the attitude of road users by a pedagogic approach.
This way, Cameroon could significantly curb the human and material loss incurred due to road accidents, evaluated at 1 billion CFA francs every year.
Refugees in Cameroon will in the days ahead undergo vocational training to have access to jobs. A tripartite agreement to that effect has been signed between the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, the UNHCR, and the ILO. Rita Makang has the rest of the story.
To date, Cameroon counts over 425,421 refugees, according to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, a population which, apart from receiving basic assistance, needs to be enrolled in training programs for their social integration in their host country.
Our nation has always demonstrated its willingness and its commitment to welcome our brothers and sisters who are in trouble today.
The signing of this tripartite agreement between the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, the representative of the UNHCR in Cameroon, and the representative of the International Labour Organization lays a strong foundation to ease access to decent jobs amongst refugees.
This partnership will allow refugees to be trained, because how can you get access to employment if you are not trained, if you don't have a diploma, and this is very important for us.
By so doing, Cameroon shows its commitment to international laws, notably the Geneva Convention of 1951, which stipulates that states are expected to cooperate with the UNHCR in ensuring that the rights of refugees are respected and protected.
Farmers and members of common initiative groups in the Kunki division in the West region have received over 4,000 bags of fertilizers to improve their agricultural production. The benefactors are their elected representatives, Honorable Abe Kwenche and Honorable Colette Sohong, in a collective initiative. The donation was made in some 20 villages in all the 3 subdivisions of Kunki. Esther Kmer has the details.
The farming season is here, and the industrious people of Kunki need to get boosted to augment their yields. Honorable Albert Quincy and Honorable Colette Soeng are their best bet as they come along with bags of fertilizers. Supported by administrative and council authorities, they moved to Bayangam, where the beneficiaries gathered to receive the plant's food and to showcase how impactful the assistance has been over the years. In Jebem, the farmers liken the manure to manna that has rolled back poverty and unemployment, while in Peribanjun, the recipients admit the donation guarantees healthy living and food sufficiency.
The intention is to increase the quality and quantity of the agriculture production. The quantity increased about 40 or 45%.
Crise crossing a dozen villages like Tese to help the rural women enrich their soul and to encourage organic farming. The call for the respect of COVID-19 preventive measures is also highlighted.
The French ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Christophe Giroux, has launched a discovery cycling tour in the Day Division of the West region. Honorable Jean-Claude Mekam-Feutu guided the ambassador on a tour of some projects that will ameliorate the living conditions of the population. Cynthia Sapala was there.
The stop at Tonga Subdivision, entry point into the West region, was to visit a friend and elite of the community. Honorable Jean-Claude Feutu received His Excellency Christophe Giroux, who came to launch a 3-day cycling tour aimed at discovering Bangu, Fumban, Bangante and others in the region.
My presence here is, first of all, to launch a new project. We'll spend three full days cycling and accompanying different population through an association, and they will provide items, goods.
During his visit, he toured some projects undertaken by the Honorable, one of which was a site allocated for the construction of a mortuary at the Tonga District Medical Center and the new Catholic boarding secondary school.
The construction of this Catholic boarding school will eventually lead to a university which will train agronomists and engineers in agro-pastoral farming. With the ambassador's visit to the West, we are grateful that he stopped to see some of our projects in Tonga.
Local development projects like these undertaken by elites help to materialize the decentralization process, which also lays grounds for real investment in communities.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
The 26th edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope will take place this Saturday in Boya with 20 foreign athletes from 8 countries that will be taking part. Health professionals have put in place measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Bodin Sama has a rundown of the measures from the Public Health Emergency Center. Over to you, Bodin Sama.
Good evening to you, Moki Edwin Kinzeka. Actually, there are measures taken by the government of Cameroon to avoid any spread of the coronavirus during this Mount Cameroon Race of Hope, given that most of these athletes, especially the foreign athletes who are already in Cameroon, upon arrival via either the Douala International Airport or the Yaoundé Simalène International Airport, most of them presented their COVID-19 results from their respective countries to health professionals working in these 2 different airports, and they were equally subjected to screening for COVID-19 at the different airports to get to know whether any of them contracted the virus. And equally, before the race that will take place this Saturday, officials of the Cameroon Athletics Federation reassured that 48 hours to the race, that's yesterday, Thursday, most of them were once more screened for COVID-19 to reassure or to be quite sure that none of them is positive before the start of the race this Saturday. And equally, the president of the Cameroon Athletics Federation, Emmanuel Motombi Mbome, confirmed to us that as compared to what has always been the case, this race this Saturday will be quite special, given that the kickoff will be quite different, with different kickoffs reserved to avoid any contamination as far as COVID-19 is concerned, given the bulk of persons who will have to leave the Molicom Municipal Stadium heading towards the mountain. Different kickoffs or different categories, such as the veteran category. They will have to live separately from the different categories. All these aims at avoiding any spread of the coronavirus. Back to you, Moki Edwin Kinzeka.
Thanks, Bordwin Sama. A workshop to examine ways of reconstructing the northwest and southwest regions after several years of hardship has taken place, with officials including the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees indicating that it is high time peace returned to that part of the country for the people to start going about their daily activities. Yvonne Ako has the rest of that story.
According to statistics, a total of 705,800 internally displaced persons from the northwest and southwest regions have been registered since the outbreak of the socio-political crisis in the two English-speaking regions in 2016. Out of this number, 80,900 IDPs have fled to the littoral region due to its proximity. These IDPs encounter numerous challenges on a daily basis, and to accompany them, the African Center for International Diplomatic, Economic and Strategic Studies, CIDES, have carried out this study in the towns of Mbanga, Douala 4 and Puma.
The first thing as a lesson that we gathered from this research is that all the internally displaced persons were welcomed everywhere they decided to land. The second idea is that there is a need to better accompany all those people who are IDPs. They need the support of the government, they need the support of the partners, they need the support of their families, they need the support of the national community as a whole, in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of even moral and psychological support.
CIDES, through this study, recommends the state to put in place a national coordination platform to document and update the needs of IDPs, provide access to education for children of school age, and offer socio-professional activities to young people who do not have access to formal education in order to avoid their enlistment in armed groups.
The chairperson of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism has encouraged his collaborators to continue fostering values of living together amongst Cameroonians. Peter Mafani Musonge was speaking during activities marking the Commission's Multiculturalism Day observed in the last Friday of each month. Roman Kenye has the rest of that story.
Cladded in Sanja, Togo and other traditional regalia, members of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism commend Cameroon's cultural diversity. Every last Friday of each month is henceforth termed Multiculturalism Day, and the chairperson, Peter Mafani Musonge, leads by example.
Is to promote multiculturalism. That is the coexistence of ethnic groups, tribes, etc. in our country.
Upon launching activities, an exhibition of different delicacies prepared in all 4 cultural zones is not left out.
Hoping that others will do the same. We will do everything to preserve our cultures, but we will want also to live in tolerance, understanding, and living together in peace.
As they dance to immortalize the moment, they are also enthusiastic, transcending the cultural legacy to future generations.
Athletes participating in this year's Mount Cameroon Race of Hope are expressing their readiness to challenge the chariots of the gods, as the mountain is called, when the race takes place this Saturday. Reports from Boya indicate that of the over 500 athletes, there are 20 top runners from 8 countries. Guy Roger Nana has updates from Boya.
Alongside their hard work fuels their zeal ahead of the uphill struggle. As young as 10 years of age, some of the athletes who are participating in this race are certain that they will improve on themselves, and why not carry the day.
I've been training 3 days in 1 week.
For others, it is simply a thing of joy to participate in an activity that celebrates sports in the country.
My 6th edition of Mount Cameroon race. I am doing it for fun because I like it. It's my hobby.
This young athlete will be reaching the summit for the first time this year. He had been running in junior categories of the race.
I won twice in the junior category. From the very second time I came back here to compete in
2019 and 2020, I will carry that same spirit for the full race and be able to win.
This is serious business to him, as he already identifies his main challenges in the race. Former champion and yet to retire 5-time winner of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope, Godlove Gapsibwin, is still in the competition. But this time, his priority, he says, is to accompany the young athletes of his team.
The training was not hard as it was last year. I was focusing on my junior brother so that at least if I'm no more running tomorrow, they can take my position.
The Mount Cameroon Race of Hope this year features 11 countries, including Cameroon. It will certainly be as arduous as ever, nothing short of excitement for those who will be watching.
And that ends the 7:30 news on CRTV. Join Karine Olivia Bit in exactly 30 minutes with the news in the French language. I am Moki Edwin Kinzeka in Yaoundé. Thank you for watching.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Moi, c'est dans la terre de mes ancêtres que je partais. Je vivais seul. L'intoxication alimentaire m'a attrapé la nuit. À 2 heures du matin, papa. Heureusement, la pharmacie de garde était à côté. Je n'avais rien dans ma poche. C'est le pharmacien qui m'a rappelé que mon phone peut servir. Je venais justement d'ouvrir mon compte chez le leader. Cette nuit-là, j'ai su que ça peut changer la vie.
Orange Money, leader du paiement mobile au Cameroun.
Orange.
Today, La Regionale continues its expansion by opening its share capitals to you. From February 9th to the 26th, 2021, take the opportunity to share your projects by buying La Regionale shares at the pre-share price at 42,000 CFA. Log on to laregionalbourse.com or chat on WhatsApp +237 696 666 400. La Regionale, better than what you think.
Un grain de riz camerounais dans ces rayons. Pourtant, il y a du thaï, de l'indien, du vietnamien et bien sûr le célèbre oncle américain. Mais au fait, pourquoi chercher à récolter ce qu'on n'a pas semé? En effet, le Cameroun produit bien moins que ce dont il a besoin.
En 2019, la production nationale de riz est estimée à 217 000 tonnes. Et les importations se chiffrent à environ 895 000 tonnes, soit une offre nationale estimée à plus d'1 100 000 tonnes. Les importations augmentent ainsi de près de 60% par rapport à 2018, alors que la production nationale reste quasiment stable. Du côté de la demande, les besoins nationaux, à savoir la consommation finale des ménages et les stocks, en comprenant les stocks de sécurité, sont estimés à environ 750 000 tonnes.
Ces rayons sont donc à l'image du niveau d'importation du riz au Cameroun. Des importations qui n'ont fait que croître ces dernières années.
Dire que dans les années 80, la Semerie produisait à l'époque 80 000 tonnes de riz blanchi. Et ces 80 000 tonnes permettaient de couvrir 80% de la consommation nationale. Après, il y a eu les crises de 87 et d'autres crises qui s'en ont suivi. Et les changements d'habitudes alimentaires, parce qu'à l'époque, chaque Camerounais consommait entre 2 et 3 kilos de riz par an. Aujourd'hui, chaque Camerounais consomme 25 kilos de riz par an. Donc, la demande a été multipliée pratiquement par 15-20, alors que les investissements n'ont pas suivi. Et après les émeutes de 2008, les émeutes de la faim, il y a eu des mesures incitatives qui ont été prises à l'endroit des produits de grande consommation, tels que le riz. Et le riz a été donc pratiquement défiscalisé. Ceci a encouragé l'importation au détriment de la production, surtout qu'entre-temps, les investissements conséquents n'ont pas été consentis pour développer la production du riz. Donc aujourd'hui, le Cameroun, avec ses effets conjugués, se retrouve avec un déficit de l'ordre de 450 000 tonnes de riz.
Et ce sont autant de devises qui s'envolent. La balance commerciale se creuse sous le poids des importations de riz aussi, et les finances publiques en prennent un coup.
Concernant l'impact des importations de riz sur l'économie, d'abord sur la balance commerciale. Précédemment, nous avons évoqué la facture des importations de riz qui s'élève à environ 232 milliards de francs CFA en 2019 contre 144 milliards en 2018. Cette sortie des devises contribue ainsi à détériorer davantage le solde commercial de biens qui est déficitaire d'environ 1460 milliards en 2019 contre 1300 milliards en 2018. Sur les finances publiques, le riz étant un produit de première nécessité, la consommation des ménages est subventionnée à travers les mesures de défiscalisation introduites depuis 2008 après la crise alimentaire, ce qui génère un manque à gagner au niveau des recettes d'importation.
Et pourtant, gâté par la nature, le Cameroun a de quoi tutoyer les pays producteurs de riz et enrichir ses paysans. Et comment? Eh bien, parcourons les grands bassins de production de cette céréale au Cameroun. D'abord la région de l'extrême nord,